What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. In today's video, guys, I want to talk about the best champions for the Chimera, but I will do it in a different format. I'm going to give you guys my top 5 revivers, top 5 supporters, top 5 debuffers, and top 5 damage dealers. Like this, you're going to be able to connect the dots and basically build that ultimate Chimera team that will allow you to either complete a lot of trials, either to deal a lot of damage. So I'm gonna include mythical champions as well on the list. I know you guys are not necessarily their biggest fans because, hey, not everybody has mythicals. They are very, very hard to get. And to be honest with you guys, I am missing most of these mythicals on my account as well. Some of the best legendaries as well. And as I mentioned, I split them in different categories. Now, most likely I will give you a couple of extra ones in which group rather than just stick to the top 5. I'm not necessarily gonna read all of their kits and stuff, guys. I will just basically briefly walk you through it and explain you why the champions are good. So let's start with the revivers, okay? Slash healers. Now, some of these will of course be cleansers, some of them will be buffers as well, debuffers in some cases as well, but the main purpose for these champions is basically to revive and do other shenanigans. Now, I'm going to start with the High Elves, and this is going to be the most OP champion, guys. I'm going to try to kind of like put them in an order, like what's the best, the second best, third best, etc. There is no secret. The most insane reviver for Chimera is Galatir. Not only that he revives, but he actually brings debuffs, which allows you to basically complete more trials. Super powerful, especially with that second form as well. You have the block active skills, you have the increased accuracy, you have the decreased resistance, which is just massive. He gives you Thermiter, he can revive, he gives you perfect veil, he gives you a cleanse, he gives you healing, he gives you immunity, more Thermiter. So overall, he's absolutely freaking insane. The number one reviver slash debuffer, cleanser, call it whatever you want, for the Chimera. Absolutely freaking insane. And as you guys can probably see, even though I don't have him personally, I'm still gonna have to put him on the list because I don't want to make a skill list where he's basically not part of it when he's literally the GOAT. Moving on to the second one, this will allow you to basically get tons and tons of damage. And once again, I don't have her, but she is the best out of all of them if we're talking about raw damage. So ignoring trials and other things like that, right? Galatir is super good because he enables you to do more trials and stuff. But Sina Amberheart is the number one champion that will enable you to do the highest amount of damage in the Chimera. And to be honest with you guys, it's just plain and simple. It's all about this passive right here. Whenever you have continuous heals, she activates them and gives all of your champions a 5% turn meter boost per continuous heal. Now, with her in the team, some of the top teams are actually reaching the turn limit count on the champions. You know, the 1,500 turn limit count, not the turn count for the Chimera. I'm talking about the one you're reaching in the Hydra, Clan Boss, etc. But that only happens when you have Sina in the team because she basically allows your team to overlap the boss, sometimes on a 3-to-1, even 4-to-1 ratio, which is just mental, okay? Now, the best builds for most of these champions, talking about revivers, is going to be a 9-piece protection set, in my opinion, because you're going to get buffs, you're going to get them protected, and you want to make sure you have some protection as well to boost your damage too. And definitely, Sina Amberheart, one of the best. She has the speed aura, which is massive too. The more speed you have on your team, the better. Moving on to the third best, in my opinion, guys, that is going to be Elva Outborn. Absolutely amazing. Now, I'm using this champion in the Chimera as my main reviver. The main thing that I really, really love about her, on top of having that speed lead, which is really nice, is that she has the revive on a 3-turn cooldown, and she revives with increased defense, increased attack, and she puts a perfect veil on the ally with the lowest HP, which once again is really required for trials, especially on the ramp form. Having such an amazing revive on a 3-turn cooldown is massive for the ramp form because your champions are just going to die, especially the damage dealers, right? So very, very important to have a reviver that can keep up with the demand and constantly revive. So for my team, she's absolutely amazing. I have her built at around 320, 330 speed on a 9-piece protection set, and she's doing a fantastic job, guys. Not only that, but she brings the cleanse in, which is massive, because you will require to have a cleanse in a way or another, right? Plus, you have the immunity, which once again is required for trials. Moving on to the next one, guys. Once again, a champion that I don't have, but I'm seeing a lot of my clanmates using her. A lot of people in general are using her, and she is really, really nice as well. Raka, she gives you a speed lead as well. What I do like about her is that she gives you the increased attack, she gives you a shield, she cleanses, she revives with immunity and 50% turn meter and HP, which is really, really nice. And you have the passive on a 1-turn cooldown, which gives you turn meter. Now, unlike the other champions that I suggested you to build on a 9-piece protection, I would most likely build her on a Relentless plus an Impulse, or a Relentless plus a 5-piece protection. That can help as well, not to boost the damage, but to have some protected buffs. The main thing is the more turns she takes, the more turn meter she's going to give you with the passive. And that is going to be absolutely massive. Very, very powerful champion as well. Turn meter is literally everything in the Chimera, guys. Then we have one more on the list, but I'm actually going to give you a couple of them. So I do think that even though I don't have him, Glaycat is very, very powerful for the Chimera. Very powerful for Hydra as well, to be honest. You have the Speed Aura, the A1, which doesn't really do much in the Chimera with the freeze. You're going to get increased attack, perfect veil, and once again, you're going to get turn meter. Then you're going to get a revive with increased accuracy and increased defense on a 4-turn cooldown. And you have the passive that will boost the damage, okay? If you have a perfect veil placed by this champion. 10% extra damage is no joke, guys. And once again, best build for him will be a 9-piece protection, in my opinion. That will boost the damage furthermore, plus it will keep the buffs protected. Now, a lot of you guys tend to ask, Skratch, why are you never putting Duchess in the top 5 or whatever for the Chimera? While I do think that Duchess, she's nice, she doesn't bring you the turn meter. Yeah, she gives you the perfect veil, the increased attack, and the immunity. But other than that, I feel like there's so many other revivers that shine more in the Chimera than a Duchess. Or even a Siphi. Siphi, she has a 4-turn cooldown revive on a single target. She does give you 3 buffs that are nice, but she doesn't cleanses or anything like that. She has long cooldowns on all of the skills, to be honest. Same with Duchess. So that's why I'm not a big fan of both of those champions for the Chimera. I would 100% prefer Glaycat over the other two. And not just that, but I will prefer even Lady Noelle over Siphi and Duchess. Lady Noelle, she's absolutely freaking insane with that revive. She was a fusion for Christmas. Once again, the speed aura is only for arena, so that won't help you. But you have one of the best revive skills in the entire game. Revives the entire team on a 3-turn cooldown, guys, which is just massive. Then you have, of course, the increased speed on all of your champions. And this, if the target is under a sheep, you don't care about arena, but she does cleanses. So if you pair her with the right champion, if you pair Lady Noelle, for example, with Opardine Clanfather, absolutely amazing combo. I've released a video before. Definitely check that out. A very, very solid combo. Plus, she brings you block buffs on the A1, so she does tick a lot of boxes. And the main thing is that freaking revive on a 3-turn cooldown. Super, super powerful. So definitely do not sleep on Lady Noelle if you don't have any of the previous champions that I've just mentioned as revivers, right? Moving on to supports, okay? So I'm talking about support champions that boost turn meter, champions that buff, and other things like that. So let me start once again with a mythical champion. I'm constantly seeing it in the comments. Skratch, Skratch, Skratch. This champion is amazing. And I definitely agree, guys. We have Arbais. Now, the reason why Nekmotar, in my opinion, is ranked much higher than Arbais is that Arbais needs to metamorph. So you don't have all of the skills available on one form, which means that you're kind of like missing out on using some of the skills while you're rotating from the normal form to to the second one, right? But Arbais, once again, she does bring a lot of things. She brings you the increased attack, the increased accuracy, thermometer boost. She removes buffs from the enemies. She gives you revive on that. The A1 block active skills, which is nice. You have a speed aura for all battles, 25%. The passive is nice, but it's not really going to be helpful in the Chimera, right? Then the second form, you have the Leech, you have the HP burn, which is massive for the Chimera. You have some continuous heals. The A1, once again, is not really going to do crazy things because you cannot decrease the thermometer on the boss. But Arbais is massive. Now, in terms of builds for Arbais, you can either build her, of course, on 9-piece protection, or you can build her on Relentless plus an Impulse, or depending on what affinity the Chimera has during the rotation when you're using her, you can even consider in using her on an Affinity Breaker set. So Arbais, very powerful as a support. Now, when we are talking about supports and debuffers, always try to use 2 in your team, guys. So you use a Reviver, you use 2 supports, champions, then you use 1 damage dealer, and you're going to use a debuffer like for defense down, weaken, Lydia, etc. That's how you're going to kind of like build up your team. Moving on to the next one that we have on the list, guys. Opardin Clanfather. I feel like he's really strong after the buff. While he's not giving you any lead or anything like that, the main thing is that he heals all of your champions. A very big heal, right? And he's gonna cleanse. I mean, he's not gonna cleanse all of the debuffs, but he will remove a couple of them. He's gonna give you immunity. He's gonna remove the block buffs if you have that on as well, and he's gonna give you continuous heals. And that will move us onto the passive, which is very similar with Sina's passive, but instead of boosting the thermometer for every single ally in the team, he's only gonna boost it for one of the champions when they're basically taking a turn, right? So that is really helpful as well to allow your team to take a lot of turns. So, for example, here, Lady Noelle with Opardin, you're gonna have a mini cleanse in there. You're gonna have, of course, tons and tons of thermometer, good revive, good healing, and then you can focus on more debuffers, more supports, and of course, focus on damage dealers. I actually released a video with Opardin, enemy max HP, Lady Mikage, Lydia, Lady Noelle, and was a breeze. We got like 200 million damage on Ultra Nightmare. Moving on to the next champion that we have on the list, guys. A champion that I don't have, absolutely freaking amazing. And that is, of course, the Faction Unity champion for the High Elves, Fina Blade of Aravia. She is better than Lady Mikage in many cases, and that is mainly because she does a lot of funky things, right? So you have a speed aura in all battles, which is nice. Then you have, of course, this A2 skill, places an immunity, a block damage, a counter attack on a target ally for 2 turns. And if the target ally is not this champion, resets the cooldown of all of the target skills. This skill's cooldown cannot be decreased. Now, you want to build her as well on a 9-piece protection, preferably because she brings in a lot of buffs, which will boost your damage overall. Then right here, you have even more buffs on all of your allies. If you pair her with 1 High Elf, and mainly most of the people that use her pair her with Galatir. That's a champion that I don't have, but either way, they become really powerful together. Grants an extra turn, which helps to decrease the cooldown of the skills, and you get a lot of buffs from here. Increase attack, crit rate, and increase crit damage, which means that you can build your champions much better. Like, you can focus on survivability, some more speed, because you know that she will give you some extra damage. So, very powerful support champion as well. Moving on to the next one, because we were talking about Lady Mikage. Of course, we cannot leave her out of the list right here. Crazy good champion. Like, you have the ally attack. If you pair her with a champion from the Shadow King, the A1, of course, will give you additional damage. You have the increased duration of buffs, increase the duration of debuffs on the enemy. A bit of a cleanse in a way or another, because she decreases the duration of debuffs on your champions. They increase attack, increase crit damage. And the Metamorph is really, really helpful as well, guys. And that's mainly because you will require increased accuracy to complete trials. So what I'm usually doing, before I'm moving on to the ramp form on the very first cycle of it, when I'm on turn 4 on the ultimate form of the Chimera, I Metamorph to basically prepare Lady Mikage for the ramp form. And by the time I get to the ramp form, And after I'm using this increased accuracy buff, I'm quickly metamorphing back. So then I can easily put damage up and all that. Now, I have my Lady Mikage built on a Toxic set and a 5-piece protection. The Toxic set on its own will not help you to complete the trial where you need to basically deal damage with poisons. But it will allow you to land a lot of debuffs on the enemy to make sure you are going to complete other trials that will require you to have 9 or 10 debuffs, 6 or more debuffs. So that's why I have her on a Toxic set. I do think that is really, really helpful, at least for my team. Moving on to the next support champion that I have on the list for you guys. Another champion that I don't have. Seems like I don't have half of them, but you know what? It is what it is. They're still amazing, amazing champions. And that is Paddy Teal Crest. Super powerful champion. Now, when I've tested him on the test server, guys, absolutely amazing, right? The A1 gives you turn meter and some healing. The A2 AoE attack removes all buffs from all enemies, block buffs and decrease speed and more turn meter for your team. And this crazy skill that will place increased resistance, perfect veil, and will decrease the cooldown of all ally active skills except this champion by 3 turns, guys. Now, using a set that will decrease the cooldown of skills will not work on this champion. So, in my opinion, the best build for him will be Relentless. The more turns he takes, the more he's going to decrease the cooldown of this skill. So that is really, really helpful. Then the passive can be fairly decent, and that's mainly because of the turn meter field effects on allies under crowd control debuffs. They do occur every now and then, even in the Chimera, even if you have a block buffs. Sometimes they still go in, especially if you take a lot of turns and you don't have your team perfectly tuned. Paddy, amazing, amazing champion. This will conclude our list for the top 5 supports. And yes, Negmotar is not in this because he's going to be on the next list, which is debuffers / supports. So, let's start with the GOAT, Negmotar. Decrease attack, you have decreased speed, you have leech. Increase speed, and you have 30% turn meter boost. You have the passive right here, which is crazy. You have a speed aura for all battles. I have 2 builds for Negmotar. Right now, because I'm still going versus some magic affinity on the Chimera, I am running him at the moment on an Affinity Breaker set plus an Impulse plus a couple of Refresh accessories. Normally, I have him built on an Impulse, Relentless, and Refresh accessories. That's the best build for him, but of course, it's not going to work on every single rotation. He is, without a doubt, the #1 debuffer / support champion that will give you turn meter and all of the debuffs that you need in order to complete trials and enable your champions to overlap the boss and take tons and tons of turns. He is part of every single team that completes a lot of trials, guys. Absolutely amazing champion. If you haven't watched the video on my main team that I'm running in the Chimera with 16, 17, 15 trials, even 18 are possible if you have good RNG. Definitely check that out because it is some solid stuff. Moving on to the next one. This is a free champion. Finally, Skratch, because you're only talking about whale champions. Lydia, guys. Absolutely insane, okay? You have the fear on the A1, which helps you with trials. You have the defense down, the weaken, plus you have buffs, increase speed and strengthen, block active skills, poison sensitivity, and block buffs. Massive 4 trials. Now, I've been talking recently with YST. If you guys watched that video, basically, he used to run Raiho Bone Spear instead of Lydia. Then, as soon as he replaced Raiho with Lydia, his damage just went up. And he got more trials as well. So Lydia, absolutely amazing. I am running her on my team. Now, I have her build, the best build for her, no questions asked. 9-piece feral set, guys. That's how I have mine built. And I can tell you that if you're counting every single debuff, you have 1 debuff, 2, 3 debuffs. You have 4, 5, 6 debuffs in some cases. But to be honest, you're never going to be able to land all of the 6 debuffs on any of the forms. The most you can land on some of the forms will be 5 debuffs. That's straight off the back, 25% damage increase. 25%. That is absolutely massive for your damage dealers. So that's how you want to build a Raiho, Lydia the death sinner. I was thinking about Raiho because we will quickly talk about her in a second as well. The next one on my list is going to be Feral, guys. Crazy good champion, and he is part of the team that deals the highest damage in the Chimera. You have the decreased speed, decreased accuracy, you have block buffs, you have increased resistance, you have perfect veil, you have the passive that will boost the damage, it will increase your stats. Absolutely insane champion. Now, for him, the best build can be either 9-piece protection, either 9-piece feral, right? Like you're gonna bring in 3 debuffs, you're gonna bring in some buffs as well. So it's kind of like up to you on what gear you're gonna want to give him. To be honest, each one of the builds will work just fine, and he's absolutely freaking insane for this boss, right? Now, if you're already bringing different champions for block buffs and stuff, you're not really gonna need him in your team. This is kind of like feeling better in a team with Sina, Toshiro, Lady Mikage. You put in Feral in there, and then, of course, you can bring in Lydia or a different champion, but having additional block buffs is definitely not a bad thing whatsoever. Moving on to the next one that we have on the list, Venus. I do like Venus quite a bit as well, and the main reason why I like Venus is that she brings in quite a few things to the table. You have poisons on the A1, she will help you with the debuffs, right? You have the defense down, you have the weaken, you have the HP burn. Pretty nice as well. Now, you can build her on a 9-piece feral set as well, because this will boost your damage quite a bit. And you can always land all of the 4 debuffs on the Chimera. Or you can play around with, I don't know, maybe Relentless or different things like that. She doesn't really do a lot of damage. Now, a lot of you guys might be asking, Skratch, how come you don't have Ramantu over Venus? I do like Ramantu quite a bit, but unfortunately, his kit is just not really designed for the Chimera. The A1 will not work, the A3 will not work, and the A2 will not work properly either, and you're not going to land the true fear. Now, he will land decreased speed, weaken, block buffs, and defense down, which indeed is really, really nice. You have 4 debuffs. He is pretty squishy as well, so you can't really build him for damage. I've tried to kind of like do all sorts of funky builds on him, but 1000%, he is still really viable. Hey, he made the top 5, so definitely not a sleeper. And of course, builds for him, 9-piece feral can work really nice too, or you can attempt to do some form of a damage build. I wish his full kit will actually work on the Chimera, but the True Fear, block active skills, and the A1 doesn't really help you at all. And the last champion that I have on the list, I know I've mentioned 6 because Venus is kind of like with a bit of a minus on the list. We have Raiho Bone Spear. I do love Raiho quite a lot. I wish she would have decreased speed in her kit. That would make her absolutely insane. But she does bring you HP burn, defense down, weaken, decrease attack, and decrease crit rate. So 5 debuffs, 9-piece feral all day long, baby. Then a massive healing, a cleanse, an immunity. So she's kind of like ticking a lot of boxes in here. Helps with trials, helps you with tons of things. The main thing is that I do struggle to build the perfect team around her. That's my main problem with her. I do like Lydia because of the fear and the block active skills, the block buffs, right? But I feel like maybe in the future they will add different champions that will put a Raiho at the top, right? Because in the Hydra was the same. At the beginning, we did not have tons of champions that were doing magic in there, right? But after a while, they've introduced so many champions that you can create tons of different teams, right? And I feel like it's going to be the same thing for the Chimera. Damage dealers, guys. One of the most important things. Now, without a doubt, the #1 damage dealer for the Chimera is going to be Toshiro. You only want to use the first form, guys. He's going to bring you defense down. He's going to bring you leech. He's going to have a quadruple hit right here. The A1 is going to be amazing. He's going to bring his own perfect veil, which helps with trials. The defense down and leech will help with trials as well. Lady Mikage will make him go crazy as well. And yes, he deals insane damage. Best build for him, you want to get him preferably, if you can, on a 9-piece Merciless. If you cannot do that, a 6-piece Merciless. If you cannot do that, Savage, Lethal, or whatever else you guys might have available. Actually, this week I used him in the Chimera instead of Alice just to get higher numbers to help the clan win the clash, and we did it. But For my surprise, I managed to complete 14 trials with him. So he actually did pretty well on the RAM form. So 14 trials is definitely no joke. Yes, with Alice I can do more, but either way, 14 trials came in as a surprise because I was able to do 10 with him before. Then, moving on to the next one, guys. I've just named him, and yes, I think the second best damage dealer for the Chimera is Alice. Another mythical, but hey, it is what it is. And that's mainly because he enables you to do trials. He's only good once the Chimera drops under 50% HP, so he actually has a double hit. He brings the increased defense, he has the counter attack, he has the block damage. The A1 deals pretty good damage as well. And you have the Metamorph, which brings you HP burn, which helps with trials, enables you to do more trials. He can buff if you need him to buff as well and give you some healing. And he can land fear too. So definitely a pretty solid freaking champion. I love Alice. I am using him on pretty much every single rotation. This time around, I've tried Toshiro just to get more damage. But even on weak affinity, when he is weak affinity, sorry, I'm still running him. Yes, my damage is kind of like at the limit. The main thing is, guys, with Alice, you do need a 6-star Crushing Rend. Without the 6-star Crushing Rend, you will struggle to get enough damage to get a top chest as well and complete trials. The next one on the list, guys, is going to be a free champion that every single one of you guys got, and that is Ninja. Absolutely amazing, amazing champion. And that's mainly because the passive builds up damage, okay? And that's the same thing with Toshiro. That is very important. The same thing with Alice. And Ninja can do crazy things. He has defense down. He brings his own perfect veil. He brings HP burn. So once again, you're going to be able to complete more trials. Now, having 6-star Crushing Rend is amazing. If you don't have that, a 5-star Nature Threat will be really helpful. Because now, a lot of you guys will have the Cat's Gaze. If you listen to me before when I said, do everything in your power, skip fusion, skip all the other trashy events, and save resources to get the Cat's Gaze. And if you got it, you know exactly why I said it, because it's an insane relic. So you can equip that on any of your damage dealers to boost your damage even more. So even without a 6-star Crushing Rend, Ninja is still going to perform really, really well. Best build for him as well will be a 9-piece Merciless if you can. Same for Alice, 9-piece Merciless. I only have him on 6-piece because I cannot build any of my champions on a 9-piece Merciless, unfortunately. But a 6-piece Merciless will get the job done, and it will allow you to do some serious damage. If not, of course, you can go in with Savage or different sets that will help you ignore defense, basically. The next one on the list, another free champion, but it will take you quite a bit of time to get him. Marius, absolutely insane. He does help with trials as well because he brings increased accuracy and increased defense. Enemy max HP, a triple hitter. He deals crazy damage with his skill. Like crazy, 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 crazy damage with his skill. So super powerful champion for this. This one, you want to build him on Slayer set. A 9-piece Slayer set is absolutely amazing for him. And if you don't have a 9-piece, even a 6-piece will get the job done. Very, very good champion. Now, once again, he's not going to be the top performer in terms of trials. It will enable you to do quite a few trials as well, to be honest. So definitely not a sleeper. But most likely, whoever has Marius knows that, and I don't have to tell you that you shouldn't sleep on him. Then, of course, we have a couple of dwarfs on the list. We have Acrisia, enemy max HP on every single skill. She can bring your defense down. Very, very powerful. You want to build her on Merciless as well. If you can, a 9-piece, amazing. If not, a 6-piece. If not, Savage, Lethal. You guys know the drill. Then we have Newt. Enemy max HP once again. I know a lot of you guys will complain. Skratch, why always the same champions? Why every single content creator is naming the same champions or using the same champions? Because, guys, we have no area bonuses for the Chimera. Enemy max HP is still the easiest way for you guys to get to the top chest. These champions do not require the same builds like Ninja, Toshiro, Alice, where their stats are just, and you're like, WTF, Skratch. Once again, 8k attack, 350 crit damage. The enemy max HP champions don't require that. So that's why they are still better for the average casual players, right? and for endgame players that don't have the craziest gear, to be honest with you guys. Then, moving on to the next one, guys. I'm still gonna name a couple of more champions. Harima with a 6-star crushing rand. Absolutely amazing. But you do need a 6-star crushing rand on the damage dealers. Especially on these ones that I'm about to name from here on. Like Harima, talking about different champions like Theox. Theox can be really, really nice as well. He can put in good numbers, especially if you're going to pair him with another damage dealer just to enable that damage dealer to do even more damage. For your surprise, even Aphidus can get the job done with a 6-star crushing rand. He does bring buffs, increase attack, he brings the HP burn, he will ignore some defense, so his damage is definitely not bad. And I will be honest, if you guys watched one of my Soulstone videos where I actually got a 6-star soul for him, and like an idiot, I sold it saying that I'm never gonna use this champion anywhere. Well, guess what? I freaking regret it, because I could have used Aphidus in the Chimera. And yes, at that time we had no Chimera, so I was not expecting him to be a champion that is useful in there. There are tons of different champions that could work with crazy gear and 6-star crushing rand, guys. But that's what I have on the list for you guys. Quickly, I will check if anyone did a key in the Chimera, just to kind of like see how they are doing their teams. You see, Arbais, Lydia, 2 damage dealers on his team, and Galatir. On the other one, we have Lamassu. Lamassu is definitely not bad either, because she does bring you some nice debuffs, and she does offer you some amazing support too. So probably she should be close to that top 5. If not in the top 5, top 6, top 7, right? Lydia, Toshiro, Elva, and Mikage. So think about it like that, right? That's how you want to build your teams. You want to basically have 2 supporters. Like, this is one of my teams. This is another one of my teams with Alice. I've tried using, of course, Otorian, but he just doesn't perform that well to be able to one key with the team that you're seeing right there. But either way, guys, that was all for this video. Hopefully, you found it helpful. Hopefully, you understand it better now on how to basically look at each group of the champions that are required to basically assemble and form that ultimate team. If you enjoyed the content, smash a like, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, help with that YouTube algorithm, and I will catch you all in the next video. Much love, peace.